guys, it is Teenage DC Fan, back with another video. And the past is such an important part of Arrow. Since the show's series premiere, it has lived uncomfortably alongside the present in many ways, from the flashbacks to the history between the characters Oliver reunited with when he returned home, and the show's sense of history and constant grappling with Oliver's past actions is one of its hallmarks, and that feeling is even stronger in the final season, which is indeed hitting all of the greatest hits. And this was strongly felt in the latest episode, which revisits one of the show's high points in an interesting way that also explores Oliver's struggles with parenthood. So, he's definitely struggling with being a father, especially because his children are only 10 years younger than him. But as the episode title suggests, Prochnost is all about Season 5, the show's best season, in my opinion. And in this episode, Oliver, Mia, William, and Laurel travel to Russia to find a General Alexei Burov, who helped develop a weapon that could theoretically defeat the Monitor. Of course, Russia holds such an important place in Oliver Queen's history. It's the place where he was objectively at his most monstrous. He was a killing machine who enjoyed killing, and he was known as Capuchin, something like that. And sure, that experience was part of his journey to becoming a hero, but he's not particularly proud of his time in the Brava. And that places him in an awkward position because he's currently training Mia and hopes to take his kids with him to his old stomping ground without them learning about his past, which is actually impossible, as conveyed by Diggle's skeptical look at the beginning of the episode. And Arrow has already explored Oliver's complicated feelings about his time in Russia, but what stops this from feeling repetitive, though, is the fact that his kids are there now. So it was one thing to unpack all of this with the team. It's a whole other thing to do that with your own kids, especially if you're trying to redeem yourself in their eyes after being absent for so many years. Not only that, but Oliver's struggle to hide to the darker parts of his past from his children actually helps ground this fairly fantastical story and makes it more relatable. Besides the whole time travel thing, most parents can presumably relate to wanting their children to learn from their mistakes without revealing too much about past failures. Oliver is facing something similar in this episode, and his guardedness actually creates more conflict between him and his kids. So when they arrive in Russia, Mia is ready to dive headfirst into whatever they're doing. Oliver brought her along because he believes it's important for her to see how the team operates, and yet he's so ashamed of his past that he keeps her at a distance and, in classic Oliver fashion, wants to keep her safe, of course. In fact, he orders Mia and William to stay behind while he, Laurel, and Anatoly, who returned for this episode, head to a Bratva fight club to meet with Burov. But Mia and William are Oliver's kids, and they disobey him and tag along. Like father, like daughter, like son. Yeah, something like that. So they show up at the club in time to see their father's viciousness on full display inside the ring, which is the last thing that Oliver wanted. So Oliver agreed to do this fight in exchange for the plans for Burov's weapon. And the deal Oliver made with Burov goes sideways once the Bratva gets involved and ends up kidnapping both Oliver and Mia. While in captivity, Oliver has a chance to see what Mia is capable of, because the Bratva make her go through the same ring the bell test that they had Oliver and the other Bratva recruits do way back when in Season 5. And this time around, though, it's not about teamwork, it's about survival, since Mia is completely on her own. Although she's able to fight off all the Brava, she fails at ringing the bell. She's like 1 second off. But nevertheless, the Bravo lets them live because Oliver told the mobsters what he was trading with Burov. And then Laurel and Anatoly show up and free them, even though they were like just about to escape anyway. And even though she successfully defeated the goons, Mia's confidence is shaken because failing to ring the bell reminds her of how she couldn't save Zoe. And yes, Arrow does remember that the future Team Arrow lost an ally before they arrived in 2019, and digs into that. Now, to make things even worse, her father's overprotectiveness is only adding to this crisis of confidence. Up until now, Catherine McNamara has mostly been asked to play tough, but here she drops her guard a bit. And seeing Mia's vulnerable side is rather revelatory. Thankfully, Laurel deploys her snark and sarcasm to help Mia back up on the horse. Similarly, Anatoly and Oliver have a heart-to-heart, as well as in which Anatoly tells Oliver his kids will never learn if he doesn't trust them with the truth about his past. So, with that resolved, Oliver and Mia head back into the Fight Club as a distraction, while Anatolia and Laurel steal the plans from the Brava. Watching the two of them fighting together is a thrill, but however, this time in Russia isn't just important for them, it's an important step for Laurel, who is tasked by the Monitor, via Lila, to steal the plans for the weapon before Oliver gets them. Anatolia's skepticism about her reformation pushes her to do the right thing and to give them to Oliver. Not only that, but she tells Diggle and Oliver what Lila's been up to, and they confront her. Alas, all three of them get knocked out by tranquilizer darts. And that's where the episode ended. And before Diggle found out his wife has been lying to him, though, he was busy teaming up with Roy, and so they could, steal some plutonium. Just casual day, walk in the park. And after the events of last season, Roy decided to go into hiding because of his bloodlust. However, Diggle, having learned how Roy helped the youngsters save the city in the future, decides to bring him back into the game and show him that the path toward redemption with his bloodlust is through the team. Now, what I loved about this storyline is how it was perfectly in character for Diggle. During its entire run, Arrow has used Diggle as the guy who shows his other teammates the way back from their mistakes and failures. In Season 5, he counseled Renee after he succumbed to torture and gave up Oliver's secret identity to Tobias Church, and he told Oliver the same thing and disbanded when Oliver felt he wasn't worthy of the hood because of his actions in Russia as Capuchon. And in both situations, he told the team was their way back, because it was for him after he killed his brother. And his advice in this episode too, because Roy decides to rejoin the team and work through his bloodlust there. So I'm glad that he's rejoined the team, because he's one of my favorite characters on the show, so I'm glad that we're going to be seeing him throughout the rest of the series, which is not much longer. But overall, this was a really good episode, and I really enjoyed it. But post your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video, so I bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.